This week on Project Superhuman, I'm training with a radical honesty coach to help me become more, well, honest. The only rule for this week is for me to just say what I actually feel and what I actually think. Now, let's see if I can manage that first of all. Second, what it's gonna teach me. And third, if it's gonna put me in some trouble maybe. Hey Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me
The
okay?
whole challenge this week is for me to see how much my relationships and my life will improve from this day till next Wednesday when I incorporate the advice that you share with me here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be doing this with you today. And honestly, the best way to help you and for yourself, of course, starts with really kind of uncovering where you are when it comes to being honest with yourself and with your relationship. So I really tend to ask a lot of questions in the beginning just to get an understanding and for you to kind of see where you're at when it comes to that. So tell me a little bit about if there's an area in your life where you feel like a quiet sense of discomfort or misalignment, even if you can't fully name it yet.
So I don't feel disalignment. I cannot say disalignment. I can say a little bit of conflict when it comes to kind of sharing my truth, because sometimes when I speak a little bit too deep, and a lot of people can misunderstand what I'm saying. So, because I don't usually have a filter on what I'm saying, and a lot of people, when they hear what I say, they filter through their own filters. Sometimes it comes out as maybe a little bit arrogant, maybe a little bit out of their world, so they kind of like align it in their own way, and it doesn't appear of what I intended it to be. So, but I noticed that whenever I'm speaking with people and when I'm sharing these things, it's a little bit more on the mental side. But when I kind of like unlock the emotion of honesty, if that makes sense, then no matter what I'm saying, even if it doesn't make any logical sense, they kind of feel resonating with it. So
Yes.
that was my first glimpse when it comes to honesty, that it can be really a superpower, because when you activate it and you kind of like vibe in this emotion of honesty, it really, you can say the greatest gibberish and it will not make sense, but the
Yes.
people will be like, yes, and they will
Yes.
resonate with you. So,
Yeah.
what is it all about? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like I think when sometimes when people hear radical honesty, they think that it means being brutally honest, and that's not what it is. It's just truly being true to yourself and what you believe and how you're feeling. And like you say, it's about like the energy and what you will release whenever you are showing up. But yet, being honest, let's be honest,
Yeah.
is a hard thing for so many of us.
Yep.
For instance, like tell me, like, is there a story that you've been telling yourself that you feel might not entirely be true currently?
Absolutely. I believe we all do this to a certain point, sometimes to encourage ourselves, or sometimes maybe it's even working against us to kind of like maybe in some level say like protect us from kind of like putting ourselves in a situation we might not be fully comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I 100% have done this in my life. To pinpoint one at this moment, nothing comes to mind. Like maybe I was just feeling like I'm not good enough in the past, and I was keep telling this story that just I don't have what it takes to offer real value. I don't have what it takes to be
Mhm.
loved. I don't have what it takes to. These all stories that just come to my mind right now, that
Yeah.
were kind of like not based on anything that's real,
Yeah. But we believe
but
it.
they were
Like,
just there, and they were
yeah.
kind of, you accept them as partially true and you organize your life around them, but they're not based on anything. There are
Yeah.
also sometimes that I can't even push myself into scenarios where I also, not based on any reality, was encouraging myself like, oh, you are the best
Yeah.
in this, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I was doing it. I mean, I was better than not trying it, but
Oh,
still, I
yeah.
was not the best. So it's kind of like these white lies we tell ourselves, but sometimes it's dark lies that prevent our true potential.
Absolutely. And the way I see it, I always say the whole saying fake it till you make it. I don't like that because I think it's what it really is that we're embracing her till we make it or embracing yourself until you make it because that person is already inside of us. Like it's just a matter that we're just working to unleash it. And with anything, you're not going to get it right off the back. It takes doing to perfect, to get used to things, to learn, to figure it all out. So it is so easy. And that is a lot of the stories that I see most of my clients face is that whole I'm not good enough. Who am I to do this? I mean, I was there myself. And it's like, who are we not to, right? What is so wrong with reframing that and asking ourselves, what would it look like if we did it anyways? Even if it's messy, just doing it. And it's amazing to watch how things unfold in our lives from just making that decision and allowing ourselves to see it differently. And I love that you're honest with that because it is a huge struggle that so many of us face in the beginning. But look at you. You've created something so amazing on your journey so far. You are helping and touching so many lives. And thank God you didn't listen to those stories and you questioned it. So anyone who I always challenge them to ask that question when you start seeing those stories come up and those thoughts come up, is just questioning it. Is this actually true? Or is this just something that I was taught to believe to be true, or just, something that's challenging me right now? So, and I want to ask, is there, maybe your wife could be the person, but is there someone in your life that you do find yourself kind of filtering your truth around the most?
Uh, I guess around all people to a few degree, it's not,
Yeah.
but I guess with my wife, I'm actually the most honest that I can
Yeah.
be, that I can
That's,
share. You have some uh, gray thoughts about, it's not always like white thing that you are just like the saint. Like you can just
yeah.
say, oh my God, this person really annoys me for some reason. Like with her, I can be dishonest. Uh,
Yes.
so to say brutally honest, not radically
Yes.
honest. Uh,
Exactly.
uh, but I feel that, and I don't know if this is for our own safety or for the safety of the relationships that we have. Uh, let's, for example, take my family. Like we are going through renovation right now, and they're truly, if I sit and really think, they're really helping us a lot. But there comes a moment, for example, there is something heavy, and I need to throw it and lift it, and I'm alone. Like I need to do it by myself. So there is nobody from the male side to help me, and I'm really thinking, oh my God, they left me alone. Like they don't really care. And this is kind of like
Yeah.
filtering the story. But when it comes to being really honest with them, like in that moment, probably that's my honest truth. If I'm speaking with them, I will probably in that moment say honestly, I feel like you abandoned me to for me to throw this alone, let's say, heavy thing alone. But if you scale back and you see, you're gonna see how much they help you, and then
Yeah.
you will look like a little whiny kid if you were acting radically honest in that moment,
Yeah.
because maybe in that moment that emotion was validated, but when you scale back, it's kind of like ridiculous if you think about it, if you put anything on a scale. So my question to you is like, how do we judge when to be radically honest?
Yeah.
Because sometimes just sharing your own truth might not, I don't know how to explain it, might, it is truth, but
Yeah.
might not be fair in the bigger picture, if it makes.
Right. Well, this is what's beautiful. This is one of the tools that I love to offer right here. And this is why I feel like the truth journal, for instance, is a very powerful way to explore this because you can't really make changes and you can't really know and gain that power back. I feel like of making that decision. Should I say this or how can I say this in like a compassionate way of sharing without really being aware of like what's coming up. So a lot of the things I like, for instance, this week, I would highly recommend you doing is to start writing about one truth that you've been avoiding, one feeling that you were honest about with yourself, and maybe others, and then one that area that you still notice resistance with. Just start exploring that for yourself and journaling it. So this way you can just start kind of understanding what's coming up and how you're feeling in those moments. And also you're going to allow yourself that time, like you say, to even reflect. Like, is this really how I feel, or is this just something, an old pattern? An old, pattern that's coming up and just I'm being triggered maybe, and I just need a moment to just express it. notice it, release it, and then allow the empowering belief to take over and realize, you know what, maybe I was seeing it in this old way, but I'm choosing now to believe this. Talk about getting your power back and talk about how you can then be honest with others in a way that you can start really showing up for both of you, that really honors and gets you in that alignment so that you can create an outcome that satisfies you both, that helps you to strengthen your relationships rather than sabotage it. Because you're right. If you in that moment had went and complained and said, well, thanks for not helping me, or thanks for leaving me, which is probably what we want to do in those moments. I mean, come on, we're human. Of course that we make those mistakes too, and we need to have compassion about that too. We're not perfect, and we're going to have those moments where we snap, whatever, to our kids, to our spouses. It's life. But we can start doing little steps like this, as simple as journaling, acknowledging, even pulling out your phone if you need to, and stepping away and talking into one of your audio journals and just sharing, like, what's coming up for you? What am I feeling? How am I seeing the situation? It really gives you that time to reflect and gain that power back so that you can make the decision. How do you want to respond? And that is truly where a lot of the power comes from.
It's really a good tool to have, a journaling, no matter what you do, because it's kind of giving you that reflection that you need to
Yeah.
make a reasonable decision in and also to get to know yourself a little better, because we all have layers of truth.
Yeah.
And I know at certain moments this truth might be distorted by the emotions, and in that moment your honesty might be something else. But this makes me think about that honesty in itself is just a tool, and it's a tool to convey more of your truth. So, how you use honesty is basically going to be decided by you. Honesty can be used mindlessly, and you can be honest all the time, which will inevitably make you the biggest liar, I believe, right? Which is kind of ironic, because if you are honest all the time,
Yeah.
even these emotions, we all know that they change and they dissipate and they color our reality. So if you are honest all the time, it will mean that you will be not grounded in any truth, which is
Mhm.
deeper than the current emotion, which can change in next few minutes. So uh, I
Yeah.
believe touching this truth deeper than the emotion is what actually gives this honesty the superpower to, even when you're sad, even when you're happy, even when you're disappointed, even when you are satisfied, there is some underlying constant that is the truth. And that's, if you, with your honesty, you can touch to that, then you can really share and express your truth, I believe.
Yeah. And I would challenge you to do that. Like if you find yourself over this week having a moment where you're like, I feel like I really need to express this. This is something that I really need from like my partner or from a family member. And I'd like to talk about it. I think a lot of times the reason we don't is because we're afraid of conflict, rejection, or hurting someone's feelings. And I would love to challenge, like, but if we don't, if we suppress it, if it's something that's like really means a lot to us and we suppress it, that is going to allow us to explode in the end. It's going to keep that conflict within us living. And it's nice to release that. So it's another thing. If there's something that you have been maybe carrying that you would love to be honest about, this could be your chance to face it a little bit, but in a loving way. There are so many ways to share how you feel without coming off as sounding like a jerk or
Yeah.
or being ugly about it, but just really getting to talk about things and then allowing another person to, the same person that you're talking to, allowing them to have their truth, to share how they're feeling, and then show them, like be the example of not getting defensive, not getting butthurt, and just being like, you know what? We all, even if we don't always agree, we all have the right to kind of see life the way we do. I mean, everyone has their own experience, their own beliefs, their own stuff that they grew up with. So it doesn't necessarily make them always right or wrong. And that's for them to figure out. Even if they are wrong, even if they are right, whatever, it's their own journey. It's their path that they have to figure out for themselves.
What I want to
Yeah.
say is the biggest superpower of honesty. It's kind of like cutting through the BS and
Yeah.
saving years, like months and years of your life, just tiptoeing around the truth and imagining scenarios that are not maybe reflecting personalities on other people that they are not. So what I realized in certain moments of my life, when I just, even I was tired, or maybe I was just didn't want to just walk the long way. I wanted to cut through the BS. When I was radically honest, what I realized is that when you speak your honesty, you are kind of like putting it to the test what you're saying. And
Mhm.
that's why it's important that you said to allow the other person to speak, because then they can take that and they can reflect on that and they can say why maybe it's not true. And this is the reflection that you need. So, for example, in the scenario when I'm bringing the couch out alone and nobody's helping me, in that moment, if I just say, "Hey, Abba, you left me alone, like, what is this?" Then maybe they will say, I'm on work. We helped you 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Like, we need one day to actually do our own thing. And then that's going to be my reflection. I'm going to be, actually, they're right. So I will share my truth. They will share their truth. And then we together going to find the real truth, right? So
Mhm.
that's the beauty of radical honesty. How many times we hold grudge to somebody that we think kind of intentionally hurt us or they didn't call us, and if we just speak and share this with them, we might hear that, hey, I was really sick that day, or maybe somebody from my family was not feeling good and I needed to go and check out with them. It really wasn't anything about you. It was actually I didn't have the time. So we cut through years of BS and years of living in this imaginary fake dark world that we create of our thoughts that they're kind of creating these monsters and reflecting to other people. If we just share and be radically honest, I believe we can find middle ground with anyone. Like with the biggest villain on the planet, if you just sit and be radically honest, the scary part is you might even understand them. And you might even understand why they are doing what they're doing, which is
Mhm.
kind of like an interesting thought to ponder.
Yes. Well, I've always said assumptions are killers. Don't assume it's so bad. I mean, because like you say, that's exactly a great example. I mean, you're right. You could be something as simple as like, oh, somebody didn't respond back to me or whatever, and you just go, your thoughts just take you away. And what good does that do? You don't know what's going on with them. They, like you say, a situation could happen. They could be busy, but they'll get back to you. But it's like being honest, and it does cut away. I know for me, like walking on eggshells is the worst feeling in the world. Having to feel like you have to walk on eggshells around a person or around, even in your work life, wherever it is, it's so exhausting. It's so miserable. There's nothing more freeing, I feel like, than honesty.
One of the things that when you are not brutally, but let's say radically
Yes.
honest, a lot
Hmm.
of people can get defensive. So do you have any advice how to either get around that or maybe make the environment better for them to express themselves without being defensive? So is there any technique that maybe you can be radically honest but without triggering this defensiveness in other people?
Honestly, I don't. That's the thing about control. Like, we do not have control over other people and how they're going to respond. And that is probably the scariest part about being radically honest with certain people. The best that you can do is honestly, first of all, come off as loving as in a way that you can be. With still being truthful to what you want to say, but allowing yourself to kind of embrace that situation. If they feel triggered, if they get defended, still love on them. Be like, I hear you. I feel you. This is not my intentions to hurt you, to trigger you, to make you feel that you have to get defensive, but I feel like I want to move forward. Like, I want us to get through this, and the only way to do that is by being honest. So allow them to share how they're feeling, what's coming up for them, and then be that role model of like not getting defensive yourself. Like, show them what it's like to just listen and hear them, because that comes from a place from most likely their childhood, something that they've been hurt and in the past. So it's not about you. It's not even probably about what you're saying. It's just about a subconscious trigger that is causing to feel a certain emotion that's making them behave that way. So maybe like look at it in that sense and have that compassion for them, and do what you can to just keep your energy, first of all, very calm. That helps too. Because I've had situations even with my husband where I've told him something that I know he didn't like. But if I didn't talk about it, if I didn't share about it, we wouldn't be able to move past it. And yes, he got defensive. And the best thing I could do was just keep my calm, let him say his piece, and then I want to have a conversation around this. Like, I want us to talk this out. And yes, at first he might have been a little infuriated, but then the more I was calm and the more we just talked about it and I let him share and I didn't judge him, I didn't snap back at him, I didn't get angry with him. Next thing you know, we're good. We're talking about it, and he's actually even like you say, kind of starting to see things like in my way of like, oh, you know what? Maybe you are right. And then wow, we're laughing, having a good old time, and we figured out a solution. And that's ultimately what our goal is. It's like it's not about blaming this one or being ugly or trying to make this one feel bad. It's just about finding a solution to something that's going on that needs that. That's what being truthful is, you know? It's just like there's something going on that just needs resolution.
Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you
Okay.
for coming on this call. Thank you for sharing all these beautiful, wise advices. I will definitely have a blast this week. I will experiment, I will journal, and I will keep staying honest with myself first and then with everybody else in my life. I will report after 1 week and report how my relationship improved, if they improved. So we will have a real life experiment, so to say, on how radical honesty uh, affects you, your relationships, and your emotional being, so to say. Yeah, so I don't have anything basically to say to you. The week went phenomenal and I felt great. And to be honest, everything we shared is in the coaching session. I know a lot of you don't really want to watch that, but to be honest, I really don't do these videos for you. I do them for me. And I really don't care if they have any views or if they have a lot of views, because at the end of the day, even if I need to pay money to make these videos, I will still do it because it really fills me up with pleasure and joy, and I would not do anything else but doing this. So, yeah, this was the real radical honesty.